Hello everyone, today we are getting started with Cryptoworth. So this video is intended for those who are just getting started, you just signed up, or you were given a business level account. We're going to go over the basics, the must-haves, the most important features for getting started with your Cryptoworth account. Alright, first things first, if it's a company level account, the first thing you want to do is add your user accounts for your company employees. So we want to go over to the profile settings and click on organization. This is the area where you're going to see all the company members. You can always add more depending on the limit to your account. If it's enterprise, you can have as many as you want. Some other packages are limited based on the tier. So if you wanted to create a new user account, let's click on add user. First and last name, email, password for the user. They can change it once they log in for the first time, and you can decide whether this user is going to be an admin or only have read-only privileges, like an outside accountant or third party who is granted the privilege of reading company level portfolios, or an auditor is a great example. Alright, so assuming you set that up, the next step would be setting up your company address books. It's this icon right here. This is where you're going to track all the company level wallets. If you're dealing with third-party vendors repeatedly, maybe you want to maintain a contact list based on the wallet address that they use. So when this happens, I'll show you here. Instead of seeing the contract, the wallet address, you'll see the contact that you saved for that address. So you see the address is right here. If you click it, you'll see the Ethereum address and the vendor, the contact here. So it's very simple to create one. Click on view full, add address. You create the contact name, could be an organization or person. Select the cryptocurrency of the wallet address that you're going to synchronize, or not synchronize, but connect. And the address type, whether it's personal or organizational. Email, phone number, you can add notes associated with that wallet address as well. And that's all you have to do. Next step, very important, 2FA. So where can you find your 2FA on your account? You want to go to your portfolio settings here, click on the settings option, and security. So it's very simple. 2FA is a universal security feature, so they all operate more or less the same. You just have to activate 2FA. Once that's done, you'll see this information here. You have enabled 2FA for this account. That's how you know it went through. You can do it by email, so that way you have to do your 2FA through your email to log in for an added step of security. So step 4, this is a pretty important step if you want to make sure your transactions, when they're calculated for their fair market values, are calculated based on the time zone of your organization or your operations. This is important at the company level. So how can we check the portfolio time zone? Company and portfolio time zone, to be specific. Company level time zone is here. So as we can see, the system is detecting the time zone at UTC -400. The secondary time zone setting that you want to take care of is the portfolio time zone. This is if certain transactions are traded outside of your organizational time zone. Since companies are international these days, this is very common. So let's go ahead and click on one of the portfolios and check out this example. So in this case, if we want to head to portfolio settings, the button is on the top right corner. You will have the portfolio name here. Let's click that and go straight to portfolio settings. Perfect. So what we want to do here is head to the time zone settings. Now you see it's different than the company time zone settings. Company time zone settings was UTC -4 hours, whereas this portfolio is set to UTC -5 hours, which is Eastern time zone. You can always change this or match it with the company time zone if you wanted to. So what does this mean? Well, if you run a calculation for this portfolio, the calculation is going to compute the fair market values based on transactions timestamped in this time zone, or any time zone that you change it to. And you can have different time zones for each portfolio if you wanted to. So that is the entirety of the company and portfolio time zone feature. Step 5, the next step is going to be selecting your company and portfolio fiat currency. This is very important. If you operate with predominantly a particular fiat currency like US dollar, euro, Australian dollar, you're going to want to head back to your company portfolio settings here and then click on settings. So the first page you go to when you click on the company settings is the account details, where you see the currency. So this is the account currency that you're going to see when you calculate your transactions, with the exception where you change the currency of a specific portfolio to a different currency. So you can have different currencies calculated for each portfolio if you wanted to. But for company-wide currency, fiat currency, you can set it here. So we support many different international currencies, as you can see. And simple as that. You just want to click on save before you exit this page. Let's head back to portfolios and see what the fiat currency is for one of our portfolios here. So let's click on the portfolio settings again, and voila, you see USD. You can change this. Let's say this is a portfolio for activities in Europe. Well, we can change this fiat currency to, for example, euros, then save, and just like that, now it's calculating the balance in euros. The transactions that you have already calculated need to be recalculated in euro, because as you can see, they were previously calculated in USD. So that's something to keep in mind. The system will tell you that. As you see, you have these indicators, so it won't go unforgotten. Step 6, another important step, is setting up your transaction classifications. This is very important for accounting, especially if you use a back office ERP like Xero, NetSuite, QuickBooks. You do have a whole classification section here. So as you can see, we have some classifications that were created. Internal transfers, lease. These are all completely customizable. You can create your own classification at the parent or child level. You can decide whether they're non-taxable events. So internal transfers is a perfect example of that. An organization sending crypto from one wallet to the other internally, in most jurisdictions, tends to be non-taxable. Or you can completely ignore certain transactions that are classified. For example, you want to ignore an intermediary wallet because transactions are duplicating. You can ignore a whole set of transactions. If you want to see the library of different classifications, we have these available at your disposal. So many different classifications that are most commonly used. and then you have your chart of accounts here. This is important because this is how you become fully compliant with your jurisdiction. Cryptoworth serves the whole international market, every jurisdiction. How? Because we allow accountants, CPAs from other countries to make sure that each transaction event, each chart of account here is properly classified, whether they're taxable or non-taxable events. If you do have an accountant on your team or you're being advised by an accountant, this is something they would want to set up first. Let's get out of here. You do have classification rules. So if you wanted to create a rule based on portfolio wallets or accounts, and you can set it up based on a certain connection. This is if you want to partake in the classification of certain events. So certain transaction events like swaps or maybe sends based on the connection. So this is to go and complement. This is to complement the classification rules, the classifications here that we have. And let's take a look at what they look like in the flesh. So if we wanted to classify, for example, let's say a couple sends, or you can manually click a couple transactions or any transaction you see here. You can filter specific transactions, then bulk classify them, which is probably the majority of the time how it's done. And the classification button is this little book icon here, and you can choose any of the available classifications that you created. If you want to use one of the preset classifications, you just add them on. So you just click the one you want to use and assign, and that's it. So one quick way of finding those classified transactions is to filter. So all we want to do is select the specific classification we used, apply, and there we go. Now we see all the classified transactions of which we labeled internal transfer. You can reset your classifications once it's filtered here. You can reset the filter. Step 7, our last step, is setting up your crypto invoices and bills if you have any. This is a feature that complements your business or enterprise level account. Under the payments tab, we can head over to payments home. You'll see a dashboard of your company payment, bill information, history, unpaid, paid, invoices and bills. So this is quite resourceful as you're scaling and using these tools. So if we want to create a crypto invoice, we can just click on the invoice icon here, and very simple, create invoice, select the fiat currency that is tied to this particular invoice. So let's say US dollar, and the wallet of reception. So let's say our company wallet here, the recipient receives the invoice via email. So you have to have the recipient contact information here. You can have their wallet address associated with their contact, or you can just set up the email of the contact, because anyway they're gonna be able to pay through any wallet of their choice as long as it fits the cryptocurrency that you're invoicing in. So let's click on one of these contacts for the example. Select payment currency. So the billing is just to view the fiat currency, to view the invoice. Payment currency is what you're actually going to be accepting. So in this case, cryptocurrency of all these options here, some stable coins, Ethereum, Paxos. So let's say USDC. That is the payment currency that you are going to be paid in. Date today, due by end of month, and then you just create your line item or multiple line items if you're providing multiple goods or services. So let's just say you're selling ASICs, for example, 2 of them for 10,000 each, and just like that, you have your invoice. You can set up a description, wanted to do a discount, or notes to customer, terms and conditions if you wanted to be a little bit more specific, and just send invoice. That's all you have to do, and that's it. It'll be sent out successfully. It's queued, and you can view it. You can cancel the invoice. You do get a shareable link, which is practical. You can message this link to the third party, the customer, the partner, whoever it may be who's paying for the invoice, the contact, and you can go to bills. In this page, you can set up some bills that you paid in the past, and you want to create your history in cryptocurrency bills, or if you have a bill to pay, you can just create it here. Very similar setup, and you can always track everything on your payments home page. So you will just get a list of your invoices, your bills, anything that's unpaid, paid, your entire history, your payments history here. So that is a quick overview of getting started with Cryptoworth. Of course, there are other subjects we can cover. That'll be for the next video.